Welcome back, motorized bike enthusiast. In today's video, I'll be giving you my official review and opinion of the S.A.F Super Clutch from DLH Performance. Here I'll be covering my opinion upon its performance, ease of installation, little issues you'll have to deal with along the way, and whether or not I think it's worth it. So we've been testing the Super Clutch for about a month now, and it's not been smooth sailing the whole way. Most of this has to do with the slight learning curve involved with these high pressure clutches and trying to adapt high quality components to low quality stock hardware. Installation of the Super Clutch, thanks to DLH's detailed video about it, was actually really easy. As a matter of fact, after you gut the stock clutch system, doing maintenance or adjustments on the Super Clutch is easier than anything on the stock clutch. As a matter of fact, maintenance on this clutch is a lot easier than the stock system, as you can remove essentially every single part except for the clutch cam from the bevel gear side. This information might be useful even if you're not using the Super Clutch, but another clutch with the same style of setup, as by using a single Allen key and a stick magnet you can remove the entire pressure plate from the assembly along with the mandrel, bearing, and bucking bar. This will then allow you to clean the pressure plate, clutch pads, and the included hardware of course. You can then push grease into the shaft to make its way to the clutch cam, all without removing a single cover from the bike. As an added bonus, you can even grease the bevel gears. So if you're looking for a clutch system with added performance and a lot of convenience, this system really shines. And note that even the budget option at $45 will hold the same convenience with added performance over a stock system. But now that he includes the 65K Rockwell bucking bar with all of his clutch systems, this is something you'll find yourself not doing very often. So let's knock a few of the issues out of the way that I had to deal with and how I got around them. These are issues that you might have to deal with if you use a similar style clutch system with this much pressure. This isn't just isolated to the Super Clutch. Basically, anytime you add a stiffer spring to a clutch system, these issues will probably crop up. Number one was manipulating the clutch lever. It was really hard to pull and would fatigue my hand very quickly during normal riding conditions. Well, when I set this bike up with the stock clutch system, I didn't give too much thought to how I routed the clutch cable. There were a few sharp bends in it which were not ideal, but under the stock clutch pressure, it didn't really matter. When I put the Super Clutch on it, it mattered. I rerouted my clutch cable to give it much wider bends and a smoother path to the clutch system, and that made the biggest difference so far. The clutch is still a lot stiffer, and you definitely notice it, but it's much more manageable now. The only other issue I've dealt with on the Super Clutch is the one that I was most concerned about, and that was constant adjustments to prevent the clutch from dragging as it wore itself into the stock clutch components. The bearing will take a while to wear itself into the mandrel on some setups. At least it did for me. I would make an adjustment to prevent the clutch from dragging, I would ride the bike, and I would have to readjust the clutch to prevent it from dragging. This whole time, it's the bearing wearing itself a cup into the mandrel until eventually it would set in place and no longer require constant adjustments. You can probably accelerate this process by making large adjustments, something I didn't do because I was just worried about overwear on the stock clutch parts, but it was just not necessary. After about a dozen rides, I was able to finally ride the bike without having to readjust the clutch because it was dragging. Now I've got it to the point where there's no drag on the rear wheel and no slipping on the clutch itself. Luckily, some good came out of this situation. As the clutch was sorting itself out, I was looking for the issue somewhere else in the system, and we discovered that you can replace the stock washers on the springs to dictate how much pressure is applied to the clutch. With our stock Minarelli cylinder, we don't exactly need 700 pounds of pressure to prevent the clutch from slipping. So we found that by replacing the stock 1.5mm spring washers with 1mm washers, I was able to put less pressure on the system, to the point where it still didn't slip under the power of the motor, but I was able to more easily manipulate the clutch lever, and the stock clutch components will wear in slower. So it's something good to know if you have a similar clutch system, is that by replacing the washers on the springs, you can dictate how much pressure is on the system, and this can be done in 5 minutes or less. I would like to address a legitimate concern that you should be aware of, and that's the possibility of getting loose clothing or shoelace strings caught in the exposed spring of the clutch system. Now obviously this hasn't happened to me, but if it does, you'll be the first to know about it. I would say the chances of this happening are a little less likely than getting your clothing caught in the chain and sucked into the motor, which has happened to some riders on occasion, but not very often. And most of the time it happens to riders who are wearing really baggy clothing, or their shoelace strings are just flapping around in the wind. Now, I noticed that the majority of riders will ride with their left leg forward, so getting your clothing caught in the chain is very rarely ever an issue. However, if you ride that way with your right leg back, then this is something that might be a little more likely to happen. However, after closely examining this clutch system, there's no real sharp edges or anything for most clothing to get caught on unless you insist on wearing incredibly baggy clothing. The biggest issue I would worry about is your shoelace strings. Just make sure they're not excessively long and flapping around in the wind, because those could easily wrap themselves around the clutch springs. For me, on this particular build, I'm forced to ride with my right leg forward so my left leg can fit into the contour of the exhaust system and not get burned. So this will probably never happen to me. Now in this video, I'm not trying to sell you on something you don't need. I'm just reviewing what I have. And there's a lot you can do to these systems to improve the performance. For example, replacing the stock mainspring with a beefier spring can make all the difference in the world for the majority of riders. For example, Southern Custom's new hybrid did the same thing. They have a beefier mainspring and that clutch system works great. It has a tiny bit of slipping, but not enough to make me justify replacing the entire system unless I want the other added benefits of ease of maintenance. If you work on bikes a lot, this is something that might pique your interest. But if this style of clutch system is something you've been looking into, well, rest assured on DLH's website he has a category for pretty much every budget option. At the bottom of the barrel, you can get the $30 option, which includes the hardware needed to adapt your stock clutch into a super clutch style system. Basic hand tools and a little bit of ingenuity will be required, but if you've already built a motorized bike, you've pretty much got that covered. Stepping up from there at a real sweet spot of $45 in my opinion, if you want the same results but as a plug-and-play option, you can get his budget clutch, which requires very little work to get the job done and will give you great performance. And in my opinion, the performance you're going to get out of the budget clutch will probably fulfill the need of about 90% of motorized bike riders who are currently on their bikes. From there we move up to the big dogs, people running fully ported decked out Minarellis or chainsaw jugs, engines with a lot of pull. Then you can look into his force clutch for $80. This is going to be identical in performance to the super clutch we have, it just lacks the interchangeable customized faceplates. And in my opinion, that's not a big deal. Had this clutch been available when I purchased my super clutch, I probably would have saved some money and gone for the force. Nice thing about it is, it's already a good looking clutch, and it's got so much surface area that you can put your own customized look onto it. Because the budget force and super clutch are identical systems with 700-pound springs, the biggest benefit you're going to get out of the force and super clutch is the custom pressure plate. It's cut in such a way that should grip the pads better, and it will disperse heat a lot faster. This will reduce fade over time. So if you're somebody who's constantly feathering the clutch, pulling from a dead stop, on full throttle pulls all the time, or just manipulating the clutch like crazy, this is a system that might benefit you. I know there's not a lot of race bikes out there, but for the individuals who do race, these style of systems can certainly have a benefit. As often as they're on and off the clutch on these dry systems, dispersing the heat quickly can make a big difference. Now on to my final thoughts and opinions about the super clutch and whether or not I think it's worth it for me, or for you. Darcy from DLH Performance has been nothing but helpful when I had any questions about this system, and he's very active in the community. He doesn't sell a whole lot of them, so he's able to devote a lot of time to anybody who has questions or issues with their systems. However, with the new budget clutch on the market, hopefully he'll be able to keep up with this traffic, as I'm guessing this is going to be a part that's a lot more popular. So good luck. As far as performance, I've already said it twice, but just to reassure you, this thing grabs and it doesn't let go, so you're not going to have issues with slipping, that's for sure. The convenience of this system, as well as its budget options, is a big factor to consider when purchasing a system like this. After the system breaks itself in, it should be pretty hands-off, but just note that at least for me, the first dozen rides did require quite a bit of adjustments. However, you have a lot of adjustment with this system. Now, whether or not I think this clutch is worth it for me, and I'll try to be as open-minded as I can for the community to hopefully speak for a handful of riders, but the ultimate decision is going to be up to you. Personally, at the moment, with as much power as this stock Minarelli is putting out, no. I don't think the DLH's Super Clutch or even the Force Clutch is worth it for me. I'm not particularly stickler about the bike having fantastic looks, but that is certainly something that some builders will consider, as the customized work on his faceplates is pretty sharp. But at the moment, my motor simply can't justify this much clutch. It's just not needed yet. But keep in mind, this opinion might change in the future when we go to the ported cylinder. Who knows? I might end up having to put the stock washers back on the springs to get its full potential. If I did find myself in a situation where I needed every last bit of performance out of a clutch, honestly I would just go to his Force Clutch system and save quite a bit of money. As you get all the same performance, it's still a good looking system, and you can customize it yourself. And I think it's going to be the same situation for most builders. I'm not in a position to talk on the performance of high-end motors and whether or not this would be worth it to those builders. But for most of us, this isn't needed for pretty much anything you're going to put on a bike. However, his budget clutch is a different story, as that can remove a lot of headaches for a lot of riders, and it's priced so sweet that it's really tempting. I have one, and we'll be doing a full test and review on it in the future, the near future, so I promise I will update my opinions based on how that clutch system performs. Personally, I think most builders that might consider moving up to one of these custom CNC clutches are the ones who have already tried modifications themselves, and they just don't get what they need out of a budget-style system, so they might end up looking into these ones for more grab and better cooling. So that's all I got. I hope you found this opinion valuable, if not entertaining. And until next time, ride safe.